Welcome to the Career Journey podcast. In this episode, you will meet Samreen. She's a doctor in physical therapy. Um, she she realized the power of mind and body connection, and then developed the 7 tools that help you transformation of your life. I like that you focus on self-worth, potential, goal setting, and changing the belief system, which I feel like one of the core element of your success, and whether or not you will be able to break the upper ceiling. Your belief system, your values, your heavily depends on it. And then you also help people with stress and burnout management, healthy
Yes.
lifestyle, work-life balance, and a strong mindset.
Yes.
So with that, welcome, Samreen. We'll start with I want to give you an opportunity to share about your business, and how can you help? How do you help people, and why they should reach out to you?
Yes. So my business is life coaching, and I'm also a physical therapist, but that's what I do part time. My coaching is a real passion of mine, and I really love to help people manage their stress, manage their anxiety with I have 7 tools of transformation that I created. And it teaches people how to create a strong mindset. I call it mindset mastery. And it also helps people create healthy habits that last long term. I mean, we really dive deep into how to change the neural pathways in the brain to form habits, healthy habits that last long term. So, mindset is the foundation of the program, but it also involves the habits because it's all about life balance too. So that's what I cover in my program. But um, really, I love to help people live their best life and tap into their inner potential because I think we all have that potential to really create a beautiful life.
Thank you. And do you want to include your pricing information with this?
Um, okay, so if someone is interested in the coaching, they can go to coachingbysamreen.com, and that's Samreen, Samreen. And on there, there's the pricing. It's the first session is free because it's an introductory just to see if we're a good fit. After that, you can buy a one-on-one session and or a series like a package, and all the
Mhm.
information is on the website. But I definitely would direct the audience to go there.
I will add the hyperlink in the show note as well as in the caption.
Yeah, and they can get access to I have a stress management guide, and they are my top tools. They are practical ways to manage stress. So I definitely think people should check that out. It's a free guide. You can download it, and there really are helpful tips to manage stress.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we both live in Naples. Sorry, we both live in Florida. I'm in
Oh,
Orlando.
okay, nice. Yes, I'm in Naples. Yeah.
All right. So, Samrin, let's begin this episode. Out of hundred and thousand of all different things that you could have done, why did you choose this profession, and what you wanted to become when you was in high school?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, when I was in high school, I honestly did not know what I wanted to do. Um, I went to college. I thought maybe I would go to law school. So that's where I started. And it evolved into just going back to school for physical therapy because, excuse me, excuse me, I have a little tickle, but I have always wanted to help people. So when I was in high school, I did not know, other than I did know that whatever I wanted to do, excuse me, that I could achieve that. And I have, when I was in high school, there was a really good book that I read. It's called The Magic of Thinking Big. And I believe the author is David Schultz. It is an incredible book. I mean, I read it in my early 20s, right after high school, actually. And it left such a strong impression on me. And it helped me realize that really, whatever we want, whatever is our passion, we can achieve it. He encourages us to
Mhm.
think big. And he also talks about the power of our thoughts and how really our mindset can bring things into existence if we know how to tap into those tools. So to answer your question, in high school I did not know, but as I went to college, I still didn't know for a while, but then eventually I realized that I wanted to be a physical therapist because I enjoyed fitness. I
Mhm.
loved the health field. And so that's how I started physical therapy. But after 10 or about 8 years of working as a physical therapist, I realized that I wanted to do a little bit more. And that's where I branched off into working as a life coach. And, working with my physical therapy patients,
Mhm.
I learned a lot about the mind and the body connection. So that just inspired me to start looking into just overall well-being and healing for people. And so I created my coaching business and the 7 tools of transformation that really help people manage stress and use the power of the mindset
Mhm.
and create those long-term healthy habits for living their best life.
That's great. And then I was looking at your LinkedIn, where you started first as the success coach, and then you started as a life coach. So I think you've been doing as a life coach for last 5 years.
Yeah, so they are basically the same. I have my success principles trainer certification with Jack Canfield.
Hmm.
He has a certification program. He wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, the series of books,
Oh, yeah.
and just a phenomenal motivational speaker. So I studied under his um, program, and that's where I became also a success coach. But basically, a success coach really dives deeper into goal setting with the life goals. So essentially, I'm a life coach.
Hmm. So let's dig deeper into this. There is a counselor, a mental health counselor, then there is therapist, then there's success coach, life coach. Let's set the ground for whoever is listening. What's the difference between all these?
Right. So I am not a licensed clinical therapist. I I don't counsel people, but rather I'm a life coach where a life coach instead helps people with becoming more independent,
Hmm.
figuring things out themselves. As a life coach, I'm shining the light on the person's problems, helping them kind of navigate from point A to point B, kind of giving them a roadmap or like a shortcut, if you will, to make their journey easier, help them, reach their inner potential, their true potential. Again, with my 7 tools, but that really is I would say the biggest difference because, a counselor, they're first of all, their license, their education is
Hmm.
different. Um, but I would say, every life coach is different. It's not black or white. It's not very general. Like, some life coaches have a lot of degrees.
Hmm.
Some have no degrees. So you have to be careful when you're looking to hire a life coach and what their background is. You can get an online course in life coaching,
Yeah,
you know.
there are so many on the internet, right, these days.
Yeah, yeah. But some life coaches are better than some clinical therapists, depending. So it really depends on the person.
Um, Many people actually don't know and aware of um, this type of help that is available, and the massive um, effect that it can do on their life.
Right.
So I would start by saying that some people don't even know what to ask, how to reach out to a life coach. And again, same thing with other type of coaching as well. But I think it's an untapped area for many people, especially 9 to 5 people, that they don't engage with these type of engagements, and they don't know who to reach out, and if they reach out, what to even ask.
Right, right. And yeah, a lot of people don't know what life coaches do. Plus there are a lot of life coaches out there, so it's hard for people to
Yeah,
trust
yeah,
someone. Like, why would they pay so much money and hire a life coach? What do they get out of it? I think they don't have the information, enough knowledge.
yeah. um and I think I can add as an example. For example, I am a 9 to 5 person. On my side, I'm writing, I'm doing this podcast, and I think there are many questions. And 3 years ago, I would say 2 to 3 years ago, for almost a year, I was in circle. I did not know what to do, because my 9 to 5 aspiration was saying, go apply for a director role. And a director role is where I would need an executive presence, a different type of thought process. And on the side, I enjoy writing, storytelling. So there was a time where I wasn't sure what to do. And I was looking at different things. Sometimes I was blaming myself that I'm not pushing myself enough. And I went through a coaching. Um, my office has an executive coach who worked with me for about 6 months, and in that process she asked me different type of questions, different type of things, different type of exercise for me to do. And throughout this process, the engagement was how I can build my executive presence. But 6 months later, when I went through all the exercise, I realized I don't even want to become a director. It's I want to do more of the thing that excite me, and uh, give me fulfillment, which
Right.
is storytelling. And that's where I started spending more time, and I'm happier. So I wanted to give an example to the people that they may not know what they are missing until they engage with a life coach. With whatever problem you start with, doesn't matter, but you end up with finding the answer that are deep within you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes it helps just to talk to someone to help put the pieces of the puzzle together. And if it's a really good life coach, someone with good experience and good skills, they can really help. And I think, one of the things that I do in my life coaching is that really sets me apart from other counselors you were talking about earlier, therapists, or even other
Mhm.
life coaches. I look at the person's belief system, because our thoughts come from our beliefs. And I'm a firm believer that our thoughts lead to how we feel, and that leads to our actions and the results that we see in our life. But if we don't address the root cause, which is for a lot of people, you were talking
Yeah,
about fulfillment and happiness. How is someone going to be happy when they carry limiting beliefs from their childhood into their adulthood and never question those beliefs? That is a problem a lot of people have. And I have a very powerful technique of changing those limiting beliefs so that they lose their power. so that you know,
Mhm.
people start really seeing their true value, their inner worth. And then they can start following their passions. They start seeing success in their life with their relationships and career, etc.
So, how about we jump into the seven tools of transformation?
Okay, yeah. Um, so I have the system that I created, 7 tools of transformation, and I can touch on them. You know, the foundation is the very first tool, which is mindset mastery. It's creating that successful mindset. And again, we just touched on the belief system. So that is really everything. If you don't change your limiting beliefs, for example, if you don't think that you are capable of losing weight, if you just don't believe that, how are you ever going to lose weight? You know, but if you question where that belief came from. You know, did someone tell you that you can't lose weight? Was it a parent? A lot of these negative or limiting beliefs come from parents, peers, society, you know, teachers. It just is a message that we get. And it's not true, you know. So I have a system. The first tool is really examining the limiting beliefs and changing them into empowering beliefs. And that's a very powerful, you can say, first step. And then with that, we work on creating positive self talk because a lot of people run on autopilot. They don't even realize that they have negative, limiting self talk. You know, we all should really be our best cheerleaders. We should always be engaging in positive self talk, you know, lifting ourselves up. But so many people are harder on themselves. And again, it goes back to the beliefs that they learned in their childhood. Maybe they don't feel good enough, or, you know, it came from somewhere. Is it true? No. But that's a matter of, there's tools to tap into the subconscious and to really change the neural pathways to create the positive talk, self-talk, and the positive belief system. So there's other tools like finding your passion, what you're passionate about, what your life goals are. And then I have a system to create effective goals and how to really see results. I look into creating healthy habits of getting enough sleep and exercising habits, how to make those like a regular habit. Um, and then eating well, mindfulness, practicing mindfulness in the day. You know, the main thing with my program is also helping people with managing their stress and anxiety. A lot of people who suffer from anxiety have a hard time focusing on the present. They focus on the past, they focus on the future. So I teach them tools to create more mindfulness in their day with, you know, for instance, a gratitude journal. I mean, there's lots and lots of tools, but and we look at how to create more joy in life, how to have a more positive social support system. It's all about the life balance.
I muted myself because there is a lawnmower
All right.
around my community. Somehow he finds when I'm to my podcast. Um, Thank you. That's amazing. All these systems, especially around the mindset mastery, belief system. Um, the positive self-talk is something that I have tried since my childhood.
Yes.
Again, these are simple things: journaling, self-talk, meditation. These type of very simple thing that very effective, but we don't do regularly. I don't know why, but
Well, I can tell you why. Part of it is because it's very, very hard to change a habit. A lot of these things are habits. So it involves
hmm,
self-discipline. It involves that real commitment to make a change. It involves having accountability. You know, that's why it is so helpful to have a very good life coach. Or if you don't have a life coach, tell a friend or
yep.
use something. You know, when I work with my clients, we make a commitment. I help them make a commitment to stick with it, to stay consistent. for at least 30 days. That's where change occurs. If you just do something like, why do New Year's resolutions not last? Why do people set their New Year's resolutions and only see results for a few weeks or maybe a month or maybe two? And after that, they don't see results because they don't stay consistent. And the thing is, research shows that it takes on average 66 days to create a habit. But the first couple of weeks, the first few days will be easy because it's a new thing. You're excited, you're motivated, right? But after that, the second, third week, it's like a battle in your mind. You're fighting old habits and behaviors because the neural pathways haven't formed yet. So I really help people stay consistent during the time when most people tend to lose their motivation. So it's hard because of that, because of the motivation, the accountability, the self-discipline. It's a habit.
And in terms of the belief system, um, I wonder if you can give an example or how that engagement looked like, how you help somebody identify that belief system that is holding them back.
That's a good question. So I've had a few clients where we really, really had to dive deep because in their childhood, they received messages from, in this particular client, she received messages from her parents that, it's not enough. Anything she does is not enough. And it's unfortunate, but she carried that message, that false limiting belief. She carried that into her adult life because she never questioned it. It just became a part of her belief and her life. As a result, it led her to become a perfectionist. She tried hard to do her best in everything. She worked out harder than anybody to the point where she would wear down. It was too much. I mean, she set a standard so high for herself that it wasn't achievable. So we worked to, she was hesitant to really spend a lot of time on the limiting belief. She didn't really realize that that was the root cause of the problem. So when we started examining that, and there's a certain technique that I have, I really dive deep into, kind of being an investigator with each of the limiting beliefs that you have. And so that's what I did for her. And so we turned those limiting beliefs around until they started to lose their grip and she started to make real changes. She started to feel better and not have like those high expectations that she had for herself.
Thank you. Um, Also wanted to touch on the goal setting. Goal setting is one of the area where I feel like I've done good, and I feel some of the people either not setting the goal um, or don't even know what they want in their life.
Right.
And you use the word autopilot, and I use the word a lot in my discussions, but in the slightly different way that many people are autopilot, where they go office, come back home, do certain thing, and then their aspiration are set by either their managers or their the group of people they live with. They buy home, they buy car, they do things, they set even their kids aspiration based on how other kids are doing, like always comparing. So I tell them these people are on autopilot. They don't really know what they truly want versus everything that is going on the side.
Yeah.
So for those people, how can they find what they really want, and then how can they set the goals to achieve them?
Right. Well, they can hire me. They can, that I can
Definitely,
definitely
yeah.
help them with that. But I and really a lot of people experience this. But here's the thing. If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? A lot of people don't really even set specific enough goals. They kind of know they want to be
Yeah.
healthier. They kind of know they want a happy relationship. They kind of know that they want a career that's fulfilling, but they don't really do the work that it takes to break it down into specifics, into the details, to the point of, and this is what we do in our program too, in my system is, to actually visualizing what you want as if you already have it. If you have your ideal life, and this is to answer your question, we do this in my 7 tools. It's like the second step is what do you want in life? I mean,
Mhm.
with some limitations, I mean, basically you can achieve whatever you want if you're willing to. You dream big, you believe in yourself, and you do the work. You have to stay consistent. But as far as life goals, the sky's the limit for a lot of people. I mean, and age is not usually a factor. I mean, people go back to school at age 50 and 60 even. I
Mhm.
mean, you life is too short. It's not a dress rehearsal. You have to do what you love. You have to do what you love. And without setting the appropriate goals, you're just going to set yourself up for frustration, disappointment, because it's so many of the successful people, they know
Yeah.
how to set goals. So what I would guide them with is to first write down what they want in their life. And then I have a specific method where I teach them how to create goals that actually do where they can receive, they can see the results. There's a method to that.
Do you see people struggling when you ask them to tell you what they really want in life?
So actually, usually the clients that come to me, they are ready for change.
Okay.
They're motivated. They are tired. They've oftentimes, unfortunately, they have hit rock bottom. They're unhappy, they're frustrated, and they've tried doing it themselves and they
Mhm.
were not successful. So they want someone who can, really help them see change. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. One of my friend used this technique that he tell himself that I have, let's say, 2 million, $10 million,
Right.
what he will do after that. So if the money is not a problem, what he want his life to look like.
Right.
And he said every time he does that exercise at least once a year, it give him answers to what he really
Yes.
want.
Yes. Yeah, and that is a powerful question. If there were no limitations, if you
Yeah.
could achieve just about whatever you wanted in your life, what would make you happy?
Yeah.
What would give you that true spark, that's true joy? You can, like, and we all have an inner child within us. What made us happy as a child, and maybe that will help us find the direction in the right career, or maybe it's a matter of doing a hobby that we enjoyed as a child.
Mhm.
Because fun and recreation is also important in life.
Yeah.
It's the career. We have to do something that we love, otherwise you're going to spend a lot of hours not being very happy. But it's also that life balance. What happens when you come home? It's not just work. You've got to enjoy life and do things that give you pleasure, like, maybe you enjoy dancing, maybe painting, maybe writing a book, maybe, blogging. um, Everybody's different, so it's a
Yeah.
matter of asking yourself those questions. What do
Right.
you want?
We'll ask one more question on this before we move to the next section. And
Okay.
that question is related to stress, and anxieties and depression. I know many people are facing that. I have somebody very close to me who is going through the depression. So, how do you help them? How can these people help themselves?
Yeah, yeah, so it is a big problem. And that's what I designed my program for, those specific people that are struggling with stress, anxiety, burnout, overwhelm. The very first thing I would recommend to your audience who might be struggling with that is to stop and just focus on quieting the mind. Just
Mhm.
start to focus on their deep breathing whenever, if they're in the middle of a meeting or in the middle of traffic, when they're really, really stressed. That is so powerful, focusing on our breathing, but we take it for granted because it is so easy. We could do it anytime. Our minds, when we are stressed, often our minds are racing. Our thoughts, we're not even aware of our thoughts. So in order to quiet our mind, we have to do the mind body connection. We have to slow down our breathing. We have to, um, meditation is something that is so
Mhm.
powerful and so helpful as a practice for the people that have a lot of stress and anxiety, even starting with 5 minutes. There's apps that are available, there's guided meditations, but even if you take out 5 minutes a day for focusing on your breathing, you don't even
Mhm.
have to do a traditional meditation, but by focusing on like diaphragmatic breathing, you will see a change in your blood pressure, in your physiology, your heart rate, your breathing will become a little bit more normal. And as a result, your thoughts will also slow down and you'll have a chance to get those negative emotions out. Like a lot of times we're not even aware of how we feel, but if
Yeah.
we have anxiety, sometimes we lock that up too. If we have anger, we'll lock that up. If we have frustration, but when we quiet our mind and focus on our breathing, we can get that, kind of move that out of our system. And exercise achieves the same thing. We Exercise is so powerful also. You get the
Yeah.
dopamine. You can counter those stressful, um, the cortisol, all those hormones that come along with increased stress. So, that's what my program really focuses on too, is getting enough sleep. And when you've prioritized your self-care, then it really does help with stress and anxiety. These tools work, they're based on research. It's a matter of doing them. And that, like we talked about earlier, is a lot of these things are not rocket science. I put it together in a program that really provides a shortcut, but still the person has to do it. They have to be so motivated and committed. And I am just helping to hold their hand and shine the light, but they have to be committed to do the work consistently. And it usually does require about 30 days, but they will see results if they make that effort. And that's the beautiful thing, is that people can get out of depression. Most people, unless it's a chemical thing and they need the medication, but a lot of times it's the cognitive, our thinking. And again, where does the thinking come from? Our beliefs. And that's why I focus so much on changing those limiting beliefs.
What do you mean by chemical depression caused by chemicals?
So again, I'm not a
Mhm.
psychotherapist, but I do know that there are certain depressions that are classified as, like you have to have medication. Otherwise, there's no, cognitive therapy alone does not help. And fortunately, the majority of people who are experiencing stress, anxiety, depression don't have it that
Mhm.
bad. But the ones that do, they have to see a psychiatrist or they have to see a psychologist. That
Yeah.
is not what my program is for. I unfortunately cannot help those people, but for those that have the milder degrees of the depression, which really in this day and age, in this world that we live in, who does it, right? I mean,
Everybody.
the anxiety, just watching the news sometimes can be like, oh my goodness, what's happening in the world?
The thing is, when you have fever, you know it. Your body is kind of hot,
Right,
and you go to the doctor. You take medicine. But when you have the mental issues, you don't
right.
do anything.
Right, because we get used to it. We run on autopilot. We're not even aware sometimes. But that's where it's, again, in my program, I talk about how to become aware. It's those taking those pauses through the day and, just check in with yourself. Check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? What am I thinking?
Yeah.
Is the thought that I'm thinking, is it serving me? Is it the best thought? Is it based on truth? Is it the most loving thought? Or is it based on fear and worry? We always have a choice in any given moment. We can think of the cup as half full or the cup as half empty. We can think about something loving or something that we're grateful for. Or we can think about something fearful and something that we're worried about. We cannot, in any one given moment, think about both things at the same time. It's just not possible. So why not train yourself to think about the cup as being half full? Because actually, when you have a positive thought, it will lead to a positive consequence, a positive result. Positive thought will lead to a positive result, and a negative thought will lead to a negative result. That is just the nature. But we take it for granted because it is so easy. It's our thoughts. We have so much power in our thoughts. So much
Agree.
power.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's keep moving. The next thing is, how do you set your goals? And I want to start by bringing the scenario 5 years ago when you started thinking about slightly changing from the success coach to life coach. What was your thought process around that time, and how you set the goal that I want to become this is how I'm going to shift, and then you became?
So I am a success and life coach. It's still one of the same. Like a life coach can be a success coach.
Right. So
It's like
maybe I ask, when you change from the
physical
physical
therapy.
therapist to this,
Yeah.
somewhere you had that
That
brainstorming
shift.
moments, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good question. So I'm still a physical therapist. I still work part-time. So I'm doing both. I kind of had the best of both worlds. I love it. But I made the shift to start my coaching business because in my heart, I believe that this was my calling. This is what I was passionate about. I always had the belief that we are all capable of so much. And I find that with my 7 tools, I've kind of unlocked like a little system that works. So I'm passionate about sharing that with others. That's why I made the transition, because I want to be
Okay.
able to make a difference and help other people reach their highest potential.
So what was your goal setting method at that time? Because you had to go through this Zach conflict, um, the coaching, the training and certification. So
Right,
I'm sure it took time. You was working.
right. Well, when you're setting a goal, for everybody, it's going to be different. But I'll tell you my personal system that really
Mhm.
works well. I write everything down. I really believe that, if you don't manage your time, it's going to somehow manage you. Like you have to manage your time and set your priorities. So regardless of what your goal is, regardless of what you're trying to accomplish, if you just wake up in the morning and you kind of just think you're going to get a lot of things done, you're less likely to see success that way rather than if you before you go to bed, you set your top 3 goals for the next day. You wake up in the morning and look at those goals. Try to get those things done before 1. I like the motto, done before 1. You know, top 3 goals. And then after that, whatever else that you need to accomplish. But if you don't prioritize, you could be looking at the end of the day, looking back at your day thinking, oh boy, what happened? Where did the time go? Because time flies, right? So that's my daily goal setting method. But then I always look at my yearly goals, quarterly goals, monthly and weekly goals. Like I really break them down because it works. Because if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? Goals are also very powerful.
How
If you
often you review
set
your
them, I'm
how
sorry,
often you review your yearly goals?
yearly, I'll probably look at them once a week.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
So for next 2 to 5 year, how are you doing applying the same principle to you, and how you're defining what you want? Well, starting with, how are you identifying what your 2 to 5 year goals of life look like, and then how are you executing that in terms of the goal settings?
Well, like I said, I write down what I want. I visualize it as if it's already happened. I feel it as if it's already happened. And then I break it down into realistic goals. You have to make your goals realistic. And that's one of the problems people have, when they're setting a New Year's resolution, they set these unrealistic goals and then they don't succeed. And then what happens is they stop setting resolutions, right? They don't
Yeah.
even set them anymore because they think that, oh, because it really hurts their confidence.
Yeah.
When you don't succeed in your goals, it'll undermine your confidence. So it's so important to set realistic goals.
And you're reviewing your goals every week, and I feel like that's one of the major problem, that once these people set their yearly resolution, month pass, they don't go back and check what was their goal, and everything slip away.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Like that's why you should look at your goals every day, at least your top three goals for the
Top
day,
three.
but
Yep.
um, the more you look at it, the more you're sending that message to the subconscious, to your subconscious mind. It gets reinforced. It's kind of like ask and you shall receive. Really, once you know what you want, the rest gets a little bit easier because you know where you're going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how your typical day look like?
Well, so I do work as a physical therapist part-time, but on the days that I'm not working, I have a 5-year-old and I have a very busy schedule. So he goes to school, and in between I do my self-care. I have my exercise routine. I do 30 minutes a day of exercise, and then I work on my coaching, and then I take care of my son, my family, my husband. It's a lot, and it really time flies like this. So I have my top three goals of the day, and I make sure they're done before 1 o'clock. I'm human. It doesn't always happen the way I plan, especially when you have a 5-year-old. Things happen. So, you just get back on track. That's where the positive self-talk comes in. Because sometimes I find that a lot of my clients, they set goals and they get so discouraged, so frustrated when they are not successful, but, they beat themselves up a little bit in their head. They become critical of themselves. And so that causes anxiety and stress. And so you have to break that cycle and start thinking positive. Be your best cheerleader. Get back on track if you're not successful.
Your son is so adorable. I saw his picture on your Instagram,
Thank
and
you.
you're a beautiful family.
Thank you.
You're still doing your physical therapy as part-time. And that's one of the questions that people ask me. I've been writing for 3 years and now this YouTube, that when you're going to switch to full-time, are you going to switch to full-time or not? And you have not. So are you planning to switch to your coaching full-time, or what's the thought process around that for not switching?
Right. So actually, no. I'll I'll go back to when I was starting to review my goals, and I never wanted, because I
Mhm.
have a child and I already have my physical therapy work, even though I do it part time. I wanted more life balance. I wanted more time for rest and travel
Mhm.
and joy. So I'm, I mean, the coaching is something that I'm doing, but I don't want to make it, 40 hours a week
Yeah.
or more. I enjoy what I do and I love making a difference. I'm also working on a book. So,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
my time
Congratulations.
management is really everything. If I don't manage my time, then I don't get these things done. So it's very challenging, but I think that someone who is extremely busy, and I would say I'm extremely busy, even though I have, not one full-time job, it's two part-time and then a family, and then writing a book. It's all
It's a
doable
lot.
though. It's
Yeah.
doable if you can manage your time. That's important.
Yeah. Many people who advocate for leaving 9 to 5 job and doing something full time, they don't realize that the side effect of it. By doing a full time job like me, I don't have to worry about making money from this passion work that I do.
Right.
I can freely write whatever I want to write. I can freely consult anyone without expecting anything back from them
Right.
because I'm not looking for money there. So that
Right.
has been a big plus for me. And when a friend of mine asked me, I said, I don't know, I don't know if I even want to do anything full time. I probably
Right. And
want to do
everybody is,
anything part time.
yeah,
Yeah,
everybody is different.
everybody is different.
It depends on what they want in life, where they are in life, and
Yeah,
you know, it's like the sky's the limit. They can achieve just about anything they
right,
want.
right. We touched upon the time management method. So I wanted to ask you, what's your time management method?
Um, I think the thing that has worked the best for me is time blocking. So
Mhm.
I have a weekly calendar, but within it I can see the hours of the day of each day. And I really block out each time, each hour, um, almost as if they're appointments. If it's
Okay.
like if I have to work on my book, for example, that's like an appointment for myself. If I'm working out, it's an appointment. It's like a doctor's appointment, or you have to go to that appointment. But if you don't write it down, it probably won't happen. So for me, that works really effectively. And for a lot of people also, it's time blocking is what it's
Okay.
called.
And you do it on a physical book?
What's that?
You do it on a physical book, not on an electronic calendar or
I'm
anything?
not, yes, I have an actual planner. I have to put like pen to paper.
Hmm.
I cannot do electronic. I have a backup electronic calendar, but I'm old school that way.
I want to show you this. This is my notebook.
All right. Yeah, I love
And
it.
then this
Oh,
is
okay.
all the research and notes that I have for this interview.
Okay. Yeah, I love it.
And
That's like
you,
mapping, mind mapping, a little bit
yes,
brainstorming.
yes, a lot of mind mapping too. So that's how I think. And you get so tempted that you can just copy paste this information and build a Word document.
Yeah,
But this guides me much better when I'm talking to someone rather than looking at the electronic version of it.
sure. It's very visual too.
Very visual, and then
So
also
that's,
the
yeah.
crossing the items.
Yeah.
Great. Um, is there a question that I did not ask but you want to answer?
Huh. I think we covered, I think we covered a lot of things and important things because I guess the main thing I think we should just touch on again, probably we might have covered it is, you know, a lot of people are suffering from stress and anxiety, but they don't have to. And it's so important that we stop and look at ways that we can take better care of ourselves because we all deserve that. We
Mhm.
all are amazing and capable of so much. And it's not just about work, it's about life balance. It's about prioritizing our self care, creating those healthy habits, being our best cheerleader, having positive self talk. Um, that's my message to your audience is just never stop believing in yourself and in your ability and put yourself number one, because if you don't put your oxygen mask on first, how in the world are you going to take care of your family? How are you going to take care of other things? You have to put your self-care needs first. You're number one.
Is there a question for me?
um I don't think so. I just love that you're bringing a great message to people and helping them with their career journeys and just, with their journeys in general. I think it's really helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. My last question always is, what's your message to audience, which you already
Yeah.
given. So perfect. I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of our conversation today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me as a guest.